Acadiana. This next guest I'd like to introduce to you is Mr. Mike Day. He is a veteran advocate for the disabled American veterans and is here today to share some information and news about what he does in this area as far as helping the veterans, especially disabled veterans. So, Mike, how you doing, my friend?
Great. Everything's going fine.
Yeah. So, kind of share with us some information about what type of process or what type of procedures or what type of.
First of all, share a little bit about what the DAV does, Disabled American Veterans. Chapter 2, we have several missions, but about 3 of them are very important missions. They are, we have a van program. We run a van from New Iberia to Lafayette to the hospital every working day. And we depend on volunteers from the community. We're very proud of that program because we don't have a lodge hall or anything like that. And we really work hard to help veterans. The second thing we have is our service officer is, in my particular case, a veterans advocate. And that is to advise the veterans as to what benefits they can get after they're released, either a compensation, a pension, getting into the medical system, or getting the rehab. I was talking to the gentleman here right before we went on camera, and he's interested in going into rehab there and learning more about electronics, which he can do on the vocational rehabilitation with the Veterans Administration.
Mm-hmm. As far as this van program, you more or less take them all the way up to Alexandria to the hospital?
Right. We actually have 2 vans. We buy them and we give them to the VA, and the VA maintains to put the gas in them, and of course insures them. And I will say this much about our van program: the people in Lafayette are very, very good people. We have 28 volunteers, and of that, only about 10 of them are in our chapter. The others are people from outside our DAV chapter. People really are good about wanting to help here.
Okay. So from New Iberia
to
Lafayette,
New Iberia, Lafayette, and then on to the hospital every working day.
Okay. Do you stop in Opelousas sometime?
We stop at Grand Coteau. If there's somebody at Grand Coteau wants to get on, we'll pull off and get them. But Opelousas is in St. Landry Parish, and they handled by the sheriff primarily.
Okay.
But when they have somebody around Grand Coteau or Sunset, then if they call our people, we'll stop by that truck stop and pick them up.
Yeah, I know that since you're dealing with veterans with special needs, I know just recently I sent one to you, and the young lady called you, and she called me back and said, no, since I already filed a claim that you cannot really help, but he does take care of,
What's the primary? I remember that particular case. The reason I could help her, but the whole thing is, in order for me to help any veteran, we have to have the power of attorney. She'd already signed up with the Louisiana Department of Veteran Affairs.
Oh, okay.
And if I went to help her, I would put her in the back of the pipeline again.
Okay.
And I checked all her paperwork. She was going forward. She had a good claim. So, I could have helped her, but it would have been a hindrance. It was delayed it.
Tell me a little bit, how many veterans do you think that's out there that could be in the system that needs help, that doesn't really know about what we do, or you do for that matter? Because I run across veterans out there and they tell me, I don't be in the system, I don't trust the government anymore. I've been disabled, but I've heard that, they're not gonna take care of me, so I don't want to, I don't trust them. But they have to come forward though. In order for you to really assist them. I can help them with the job part. But with you, you can go in and really do some things and really be
we can do that
with them.
Well, to answer your question, the Acadiana Coalition of Veterans who tried to get this quote-unquote hospital here, they estimated that within a 50-mile radius of Lafayette, maybe 60, I forgot, they had about 68,000 veterans. Of that, I would say there's at least 10% that really deserve to have care, really deserve to have compensation or a pension, and don't even know about it. So that'd be 6,800 veterans that really don't understand the system, and nor do they understand they got something coming.
Yeah, because I do know that when it comes to you guys, you guys really go out of your way, which a lot of people don't understand. You're more or less like a volunteer.
I am a volunteer. We have nobody in our chapter that get paid for what we do.
That's right.
You know, and
So Acadiana, use these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, use me too, but
Yeah.
use these guys because they have a lot to offer.
We do.
As far as other services besides the band program and helping veterans on a one-on-one, and even those veterans that really are in, I guess, in a stressful situation, to where they really got some serious problems, that you really do, they need to come forward.
Right. I had one
let
call
you know.
me yesterday. He got 100%, and it's because of post-traumatic stress syndrome. And he's hard-headed, you know. He called me up and said, I really got a problem. I said, wait a minute. We got you in the VA medical system. You got mental health care. I know you're going, well, as we say it, in being old soldiers, I know you're going to the shrink over there. And he said, oh, yeah, I am. He said, he wants to put me in the hospital. I said, for goodness sakes, go in the hospital. Here you are retired. You ain't got nothing better to do. You're going to get your 100%, and the government's going to pay for you to get mental health treatment in a hospital. Man, what I got to do to you?
Yeah.
Twist your arm? So we run across that. A lot of them, call up and we give them advice as to how to steer themselves through the VA medical system.
Now, of course, I'm sure you also have contact with some higher-ups, such as Senator Vitter.
Oh,
If you have to go that route.
with Senator Vitter and Senator Landrieu, we'll write letters to them for the veterans. It's what they call freedom of information, and we ask them, hey, this thing has been clogged up now for 14 months. Could you please help us out? Could you look into it for us? You got to be nice when you write those letters. Now, to his undying credit, Congressman Boustany has a gal over there. Her name is Christie, and her entire purpose in life is to take care of veterans and Social Security people, and they are very cooperative. I must send them. A veteran comes in and said, I got this problem and that problem, and I would say, not too much, maybe twice a month we write up a freedom of information and ask the congressman to look into that.
Okay, because I know just recently I contacted all of the senators and Representative Boustany, and so far Mr. Boustany contacted me back and saying that he's interested in doing the show, the Veterans Corner here, because it involves veterans.
Right.
And I've gotten some word back from the senators, which I guess they had to do the scheduling and everything else.
Right. And of course, you got to understand that when I deal with them, I understand. They got everything from Tallulah to Haynesville to Braithwaite, and they got a big area to cover and just getting down it. But Congressman Boustany just has Southwest Louisiana, so he could.
Well, I tell you what, I do know that sometimes when veterans file claims, the key thing to filing the claim is using and knowing the right words, right phrases.
Exactly.
Because if you state it in a certain way, then basically they will receive it just like that,
Yeah.
But if you know how to put the correct words, the correct phrases in there at the right time, then that kind of gives them a different picture.
Right. Well, how that works is this: they're like me. I had never gotten my benefits for what happened to me in the Army for 13 years because I didn't understand the system. And here's the whole thing: most veterans think they could scratch out a little something on a piece of paper and they could file it. Well, the VA will send them back. We got your, we got your letter here, and would you tell us more about it? And would you fill out all these other forms? Well, half the time when they get those forms, about 13 pages, they say, well, forget about this,
Yeah.
But the important thing is that most guys were like me. They thought they'd be able to fill something out, and they thought that they could sit down just like you and I are right now, and they could say, okay, Mr. Rader, here I was in Vietnam. We were under attack. We were at Dong Phu. We were at Fire Base Charlie or something like that. You can look it up and see. I've got this hearing loss. I've got all this other stuff and everything else. The whole thing is you never, to this day, I got in the VA system in 1993, which would be 20 years ago. To this day, I have never talked to anybody with the VA. So it's very important what you write, because all this goes in, and what you do is you get a rater up there, and he reads, well, you know, this is all right. Now, the other thing that is the fact that it's got to be written right from the doctor. For instance, if he says, you know, hearing loss, let's take that, we're talking about that. And he said, he'll say, well, I reviewed his military and his medical history. And, you know, because he was in this artillery barracks, he was under heavy fire, heavy acoustic trauma. He said it is, and it's very important to say this, it is more likely than not that this man's hearing loss started in the military.
That's right.
And so it's very important to say that. If he says, you know, I've checked this guy out, and it probably did get started. The Raider down in New Orleans, you throw that out. Probably don't get it. It has to be 50% or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, information like this, the veterans out there really need to know. Because too many times, I'm not talking with you about me.
Yeah.
Well, I had a little difficulty myself.
Yeah.
But they finally accepted me in the system.
Yeah.
But for veterans out there, contact these people. Contact me at 948-1377, and they can also contact Mr. Leday at the 281-8077, and we'll see if we can make things happen. It would only happen if you come to us.
That's right.
To sit back and just say, well, they will take care of it, that's not going to work. We need to know. And for the veterans to really take notice about what he has to offer, and our services as well. But please pay attention to what he has to say. Mr. Day, how you doing?
What I would like to, I'm doing great. What I'd like to say is that there's a little known benefit of being in the VA medical system. First of all, we do not have a VA hospital here, as everybody probably knows, especially the veterans that have been howling to take over the Lourdes and that sort of stuff. We're going to finally get a new, what is known in the VA as CBOC, which CBOC stands for Community-Based Outpatient Clinic.
Okay.
And so, meanwhile, we have no hospital here. So a veteran that's in the medical system, and it doesn't make any difference if he is.
Show that, yeah.
In the you know, next to the hospital in Alexandria, because they have done away with their emergency room up there.
Well, they have?
Yes,
I wasn't aware of that.
they have. It's a new thing. As of February the 1st, they did away with their emergency room, and you have to go to, if you're in Lafayette, in Rapides rather, you have to go to the Rapides General or the other Catholic hospital. I forgot the name of it. So they have none. So if you're in the VA medical system, they have what they call non-VA emergency care, and you show up at the emergency room, and the important thing is everybody goes to emergency room, as you well know. You know, you get to see a clerk before you ever get to see a doctor. So, you know, the clerk says, what's your name, all this other information. It's very important. If you're in the VA medical system, that's very important. If you're not in it, then you don't get this. It's very important that you declare yourself a veteran in the VA medical system. And what this boils down to is they will look it up. They will send the bill to the VA's office, which is called the it's a Millennium Care Act, but it's called anyway. It's in Jackson, Mississippi, where the headquarters for this VA area is, and they will pay the entire bill. There ain't no deductible or something like that, like the Medicare. They pay the entire bill. I know because I had the same thing. I had congestive heart failure, and I went and I declared myself, and I got a $10,000 bill, but the hospital, even though I declared myself, charged Medicare, and I wrote them back and says, you know, I don't owe you nothing. The VA picked up. The reason why I wrote them back is they charged the Medicare. You know, I still owed them $1,000.
Yeah.
And we finally got it straightened out, but they will pay the entire bill.
Right.
So if you have anything that has to cause you to go to the emergency care unit, you need this. And anybody that wants to, they can get this bulletin off the internet. But it's very important that they know this, because we have no hospital, and even the hospital we have doesn't have an emergency room anymore.
Well, I tell you what, something happened just recently to me. Okay, I was up in Colorado for training, and when I got there, which I flew up there, my ears in the flight was popping like about 15 to 20 times. Popping, okay? Well, I got there. The next morning when I got up, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't even sit up. And I fell back down. So I contacted desk. They got an ambulance for me, sent me to St. Rose Hospital, went to emergency care. I told them what the problem was. I felt what the problem was anyway. But anyway, I also told them about the that I also have a CPAP machine.
Yeah.
I have problems with that. I said, but I didn't take it with me.
Yeah.
So they informed me, said, well, that might be the reason. You had new heights and less
That's
oxygen
it.
and
That's
everything
it.
else,
Could be.
So I said, I do not have a CPAP machine. So they contacted the VA hospital there, which was right across the street, which I wasn't even aware of. Contacted them, and for 8 o'clock that night, they sent me to my hospital, to my hotel, a CPAP machine for the next 3 days that I was there.
Yeah.
And then I just left it there the next night.
Yeah.
The only problem is that very day that I went to the hospital, through that morning, everything was okay. That night, about 11 o'clock, I went to bed. I couldn't lie down.
Yeah.
Again, call the ambulance. I couldn't.
Just couldn't lie down.
I couldn't lie down.
That's
I couldn't stand up in the morning. I couldn't lie down.
couldn't lie
I
down
had
at
to go
night.
back to the hospital with the ambulance again.
Yeah.
And they come to find out that look, I had a bad case of vertigo.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'd say so.
So I said, this is the first time I've been up here a number of times already, but it happened. But so far the bills are in excess of $6,000 just for those 2 times, less than 12 hours. And I just got a bill from one of the
Was it less than 90 days ago?
No, because it just happened right there in January. This is February, so it's not 90 days.
All right. You
I
can
know.
contact the
I
emergency
I
care
know.
and tell them about this, and they'll pay the bill.
Right.
You
But
still
anyway,
but that's the whole problem. You have a window of opportunity. If you don't know about it and you don't tell the clerk, then if you find out about it within 90 days, that's a cutoff limit. And man, they won't help this guy that I'm trying to help. He had his leg cut off below the knee, and he owes $100,000. He's got to take bankruptcy,
Right.
and they will not waive the rules.
Well, see, the thing is,
but you could go. You could go and
I'm
contact
gonna
them.
go. I'm gonna go contact.
And,
I got the bill, one of the bills, and for $1,300.
Yeah,
And I'm saying, why?
yeah.
Medicare, VA, everything I got going.
Yeah.
And I still get the damn bill. Excuse
Yeah.
the expression. But but
Yeah.
I know a lot of programs, but yet there are programs out there that I'm not even aware of. It's too much
When
information.
we,
But people like you,
I will
bringing the
give you.
phone-
I will
Huh?
give you the address and phone number of the unit. It's I can't think. It's the Consolidated Fee Unit. It's at Pearl, Mississippi.
Okay,
And you send them a letter, and they'll look up everything, and you send them all the bills, and it'll take a little while. You know
Yeah.
how the government is. Well,
Yeah,
you ought to know.
yeah,
You work
yeah,
for
I
them. You
know,
know
I
what the
know.
heck?
But at the same time, here's something that Katie that I just found out about. So
Yeah.
I mean, so please, there are veterans out there who need information,
That's it.
who should have the information,
That's it.
but because of lack of information, they're out there on their own.
Yeah.
And for people like you and other people that I've run into, my network is getting bigger and bigger and everything else. But you guys, I mean, you guys can get into their files, get in touch with certain people where I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just involved with them trying to bring the businesses and the veterans of Acadiana together.
Yeah.
And
I was talking to one of the gentlemen here that operates a camera, and he would like to learn more about electronics. I mean, he's apparently an electronics guy here too, but he'd like to learn more. And I told him, I said, you're eligible for vocational rehabilitation, and they will not only send you to electronics school, but they'll pay you $700 a month. Well, he got very interested in that.
well,
you know?
I tell you what,
But that's really, but these guys need to know this. Oh, and the other thing that I want to say, besides helping the veteran and this sort of thing, we do a lot of work helping the widows. Because, you know, they have to have headstones, they have to have, the way to get the little bit of money the VA gives. And, we also, you know, the VA will give them a very nice headstone, a very nice little, what they call a bronze button to go on a headstone they already have, and that sort of thing. So any widow that, and you can get this, truth of the matter is, you can get it if it's a Civil War veteran. I mean, you know, it's no time limit on that. If you got somebody that you'd like to have that would like to have a nice headstone, and they were in the service, all I need to do is get proof they were in the service. We file a claim under a specific form, and they will ship them a nice headstone, which would cost you at least $500 if you had to buy it.
well, about a year ago, my father passed away. He was a World War II veteran. And we looked at it. We decided, the family did decide to cremate him. And so we put him with the family vault and everything else. And really didn't worry about a headstone or anything. I knew about the program, but that was just something.
If you cremate him, you can get a nice bronze plaque to put on that vault.
Well, there goes something else.
You know, and like I say, it's a nice big bronze plaque. Or else, if it's you know, he's already got a headstone, they give you about a, I guess, 9-inch diameter bronze button that you can already put on your headstone. We can get all that for you.
Well, I can still, well, I'm gonna touch base with you. See
Yeah, that's right. But if he's got a place to attach that bronze plaque, he can get it with his. And it's big. It's about 18 inches long and probably about 14 inches high.
Yeah, well,
and it's got a. You could get that.
Yeah, well, we have a family tomb.
You can get a bronze plaque to put on it.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, tell me some other things I don't know. I mean, really. I just hope that.
The other thing that people need to know is the fact that when you go to apply to get for, you know, if you were injured or had a disease in the military, there's two ways to go. One of them is compensation, and that's for when you broke an arm, you got malaria or something like that. The other one is a pension. Now, a pension is where the government says, you know, if you served in a wartime, which is roughly 65 to 75, and then 75 to 91 is a dead zone, and then they started the Iraq wars and all that stuff. Well, you're in there, but you're eligible for a pension. So you could get either one, but the pension is if you're just dead broke and everything. What the government says, because you served during wartime, we'll give you more than Social Security disability or Social Security or SSI.
I knew my father was getting a pension of just $90 a month.
Yeah.
And that helped him along with his Social Security and other things as well. So we do try to take care of our veterans. I think we're coming close now to taking full advantage of all the services that we offer, because for myself, I know over the years that I tried to get in the VA, they wouldn't let me in until I finally broke in the door. And
right. It's tough. I mean, I have a guy that it's a shame, but he worked all his life, he saved his money, and now he's drawing out of his 401k. He has no source of income, but because his 401k pays him enough, they kicked him out of the VA medical system. I mean,
well,
it seems to be patently unfair to me.
Well, you do have a lot of information, and I really like the idea that you came on board today to really share this information with us. I would like to end this next segment thanking Mr. Dave for coming on board, and maybe we can get him back on. I'm sure he wants to get back on to really help veterans. So you guys have a great day.